All right, everyone. Welcome to IoT Happy Hour. I think we're live. It says that we are at the top left of my screen. It says we've been live for 16, 17 seconds or so. So I hope that's, I hope that's, yeah, we've been live for 20 minutes already. Hope that's accurate.
We've used all the good content already.
Yeah, David's leached it.
It's just the boring stuff you'll have to listen to.
That's all we've got. That's all
Just got some admin to get through.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode. This is number 21, which is a little bit crazy to think about, actually. I'm David, developer advocate at Balena, and I'm joined by familiar faces today. Chris, you want to say hello first? Everybody knows you pretty well.
Yep, I'm Chris, hardware hacker at Balena.
And Phil, you sneak in from time to time, so you want to give yourself a nice thorough introduction, perhaps?
I was here back in the bad old days of Zoom and not
episode 1.
Yeah, right.
That is actually true.
Go back to episode 1. I'm sure that was a classic. Didn't we have like episode 0 that we didn't actually air?
We did,
yeah. Did not broadcast that one. We probably shouldn't have broadcast the first several in retrospect, but we got
could
better
air
over time.
Episode 0 when we've got like a holiday week. We could go back and air episode 0. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it was so bad I deleted it. It's gone.
Oh, we could probably recreate it. We just sit around saying a lot, looking at each other.
Yeah, stare at each other. So on this week's episode, we're actually going to be talking about a new project that Phil published this week called balenaLocating, which was inspired by him losing some children of his, I believe, if I read that correctly in the blog post, right?
For UK social services, that was a joke.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have lost children, but like in the house, not out.
Okay. In case anyone important is watching, that did not actually occur. That was just a joke. All right, got it. So yeah, we'll go through that. If there is time, I also want to revisit Kerberos.io, which we put out a new blog post on this week and have now as an Etcher Featured Project, so we can show that off a little bit. Cedric was on, I think, 4 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. So if you haven't seen that episode that goes into detail, go check it out. I want to say it might be number 16 or 17, but if you look in the playlist on YouTube, possibly 18, but if you go check the playlist, you'll certainly find it there. So let's take a quick look. I see some comments are rolling in.
Did Phil actually get his introduction?
No, he didn't even get his intro. Did we skip him?
Yeah,
go ahead. Good. I'll check.
I managed to divert you.
Yeah.
So I'm Phil. I'm a hardware hacker as well. And like Chris, that means I kind of make cool projects and use Balena products and find where they could work better, or if they work amazingly, then I write stuff up in blog posts.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. So let's do my favorite segment, What's on Your Desk? Chris, do you have anything on your desk this week? Hold on. Wait, get the banner.
What's on your desk? Pow.
I like the fact that this week, because I'm on the stream, I could still see Chris doing the singing.
You can,
Oh, you get a special behind-the-scenes view in the little thumbnail.
Yeah, in the thumbnail view of him actually doing the
singing.
The viewers aren't treated to that.
Shape your mouth made when you did it.
We need to record. Yeah, we got to record that for when Chris is on vacation.
Go on in, Chris. Chris has always got something cool on his desk.
Oh, what have I got? I've been playing with my LoRa board.
Something or other I made.
Yeah. This is supposed to be in a weather station, but it drained the batteries far too quickly. Like, it's supposed to have a sleep current of like 3.5 microamps, but it drained my battery, and I measured it, and it's stuck at 2 milliamps even in sleep. So I'm not sure what's wrong with that. But I have another one on order to compare, just to check my software's right. But I think there might be something wrong with it.
What does that connect to, though? What was the interface on that? What type of a board?
Oh, it's got
a feather.
I don't think it's got a form factor, but it's got a LoRa interface and a port for a solar panel. And I had a little BME 280 plugged into it, and then I had all these like pieces. These are my weather station pieces that it goes inside. But it's all in bits right now. And I have my
the best way.
I had this set up here with the multimeter to try and measure the current usage.
Oh, that's like proper hackery.
Yeah, wow.
As soon as you
Just
break
that.
out the multimeter, that's proper hackery.
Yeah, I know. That's the sign you've graduated, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just bits of that everywhere. Oh, and I have my screwdriver, like that.
Wait a minute.
Jose from
whoa.
Rack had one on the
Jose.
show a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you got the IoT screwdriver?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What can it do? Show me that. What Jose
Well,
was...
it just puts screws in, David.
No. It does more than that. It has an LED screen.
Next week we amaze David with a hammer.
IoT hammer?
Yeah.
This is why we keep you around, you know.
Yeah.
There was the episode of The Simpsons, wasn't there, where Homer invented an electric hammer, and it was like, that's what, I should do that.
Oh, so hold on a minute.
But yeah, it's got the.
It's a screwdriver with a screen on it. Why? Yeah, I can see it. Like I can see it.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
Yeah. It's an image of a screw.
Yeah.
Like
and then when you use it, the screw goes up and down. Hang on. Both directions. There we go. Okay, ready. Look at that. And then we could go the other way.
Can it connect to Balena Cloud? Can I push?
Oh, that's
a
what
container?
I'm waiting on you to hook me up with, David. Like, you need to add some board support for the STM32 that's in here, and maybe we can.
I do like adding board support to random devices. That is true. But what'd you say? It's an STM32?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I wonder if Anuja's watching. Let's see if he's in the comments anywhere. He could probably make that happen.
Yeah.
You know he can do it.
Sure.
There, I see him in there. Yeah, Anuj.
3N Jad is saying multimeter and IoT screwdriver. Now we're talking.
Yeah. So the STM32 part that's in there. Okay, that's we'll have to get it added. We could probably tie it into my Avenger 96 work somehow, and then we can hook the IoT screwdriver up to Avenger 96.
I see.
And push the containers.
David, you're trying to drop in the name of the board that I just made fun of you for.
That is correct. Phil did not believe.
I'm not going to go through my comedy repertoire again.
Phil did not.
But you've got a new audience now, Phil.
That looks like a really nice proper board there.
Yeah.
Phil
didn't believe there was a board from 96 boards called the Avenger, so we had to go through this whole bit about, yes, there actually is. All right, so IoT screwdriver, we need to get that running, Balena.
Yeah, my lifetime screw odometer is pretty low. It's probably still single figures, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got an odometer on it. It tells you how many.
I don't think it does.
How many screws have been screwed?
I think usefully it tells you how many hours the motor's been running for, which is
like
0. Yeah. Although it does have a feature where you can change the torque, which is quite cool. It's like it has this mode where, like, so you press the button and you twist it, and the bit goes different speeds depending on how far you twist. But then it has this, I think you can like triple click.
You know what? You don't seem qualified on this device. We need to get Jose back in the show. He knew what he was doing with that IoT screwdriver.
I need to get the accompanying soldering iron that has the display on as well to up my. Oh, that's true. You have.
That's next level. Wait, you have that, Phil?
Yeah, USB-C soldering iron. It's got a little display. I don't know where it is actually. It's in a drawer somewhere.
That's got the STM32 as well, isn't it?
Plus, yes, it has. Yeah.
And, come on, Anuj, you got to get to work.
Power it on to show you the screen, and then it's going to get to 350 degrees Celsius pretty quick, which might make like a really exciting episode of the Happy Hour as I burn my leg.
Happy Hour's going to come to an abrupt end.
Yeah, we'd sensor taken off.
All right. Phil, do you have anything on the desk that you want to show, or do you want to wait until we get into balenaLocating for that?
I've got loads of stuff. I don't know how exciting it is. I've got loads of stuff. I don't know whether I can get my camera down either. It's like screwed in. I've got...
No, just hold it. Just hold it. Oh, yeah.
So the Kerberos project that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Okay.
I'm struggling to zoom in on that.
Jasmine,
one of our friends, Jasmine, she decided she was going to make that, and then she suddenly realised that maybe she could turn it into a baby cam. And she was asking me, can she use her current baby camera as the kind of camera part of it? Does she need to buy a camera? So I went to go.
There she is. She's in chat.
Is she in the chat? And
Hi,
I went to go and look up the specs of her camera to see if it had like an RTSP feed I could steal. And then while I was in there, I found it's like the least secure IoT camera device ever invented.
So everyone is watching Jasmine's baby on the internet right now? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't know about that, but I was like trying to work out, should I tell her how bad this device is? Or shall I just hint at, perhaps we should stop that contacting the internet there, Jasmine?
Yeah, maybe we need to take that device offline and get her Kerberos running.
She wanted to set one up with the Pi camera, and this is I think it's a Makerhawk Pi camera, so it's like not the official one. I think it was £15, and it's got some IR floods, so it's got night vision. So I've plugged that in to see whether I could get that going. What else have I got? I've got David's Pi Garden that he shows off pretty regularly, but mine's got some actual sensors plugged in. I've got a B&E 680.
I have that.
All right. And then I've got
it's not like a one-up.
a UVA UVB sensor. Have you got that?
No, I don't have that.
No. Oh,
look at that. 5 empty slots, David. Come on.
And it's not plugged into anything as usual.
It's
like
available. It's available at any time. All I have to do is attach it.
And then I've also got a set of kitchen scales.
Wait, what?
Yeah, which is connected, hopefully still connected to this little load cell sensor, and that's connected into a Pi, which I can't lift up, or it will all fall out. So that's an internet connected scales, and the idea there is that we can monitor the weight of something like coffee seems to be the thing. Oh, I've got you, Thomas. Hang on a minute.
Yeah,
I've got you, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Sensor hat. Hold on a minute. I think I have one of those. Not attached.
Or not attached to a thing. Yeah,
not attached to anything.
I feel left out now. Like we can all. Like, where's mine? God.
Let me put it on my. Oh, hold on a minute. I'll put it on my favorite device, the Pi Zero.
We all need to hold up a sense hat just to show how popular it is.
We mean A, it blinds you, and B,
we go.
Random values.
Look at that.
Yeah. It's on my favorite, the Pi Zero.
Mine is on a 3A.
We should get paid for every mention of Raspberry Pi. I'm going to call the foundation. I think we're not getting proper.
And we can stop saying it until they endorse us. We could call it something else.
Make a phone call over there.
So the idea of those scales is that you monitor something. For some reason, coffee seems to be the thing we keep talking about.
Yeah.
And then when the level gets below a certain point, you automatically order some more coffee, so you never run out of coffee. So that's why I've got kitchen scales connected to a Pi at the minute.
Okay.
And I broke it for a while, and I like dropped it off the desk, and the load cell sensor broke. So I've only just got it up and running again.
I think Thomas is throwing shade towards the Pi Zero there.
Thomas is a Pi Zero hater. Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no idea.
Oh, that's though, Chris. You have now a working Balena device on a NanoPi.
I do. Where is it?
That's something that you can show off.
Yes.
That's cool.
I like the NanoPi. The NanoPi is super cool.
And you've been talking about it for months, that you would like to get it up and running and integrate.
And now it is, yes.
Yeah, it's now enabled as of last week, I think it went live. Yeah, and that is the NanoPi Zero, correct? Is that the...
this is the NanoPi Neo Core Air.
Neo Core Air, yeah. The naming conventions
Neo Air, I think. Yeah.
Neo Air, turbo in there somewhere.
Yeah. Neo Air Turbo GTI.
Yeah, the naming conventions are a little tough, but that one is really cool. That's a quad core device, so only approximately 4x the speed of the Pi Zero.
Yeah, it's much more usable than the Pi Zero. The RAM's faster, the storage is faster, CPU is faster,
and it's not much more expensive, is it?
No, it's $20 US. And of course, you don't need an SD card, so that makes you're not having to factor that into the price of the device.
Yeah, the eMMC on it is pretty nice, especially knowing that and we talked about this before, we do kill some SD cards around here.
You do need an SD card to flash it, though, don't you?
Oh, correct. Yeah. As I showed JR's
Presumably you
asking
don't
there.
need like a really fast SD card or a very big one either, particularly.
No, because it's just for flashing the OS, and that's it. After that, you can take it out.
Yeah.
Take it out.
So there's a mounting hole in each corner, which looks like you probably use an M3 screw in it, if not maybe a 4.
Can your IoT screwdriver use an M3 or an M4?
It definitely can.
Okay, very good. Very good.
You haven't got a live demo.
We could. You want to do a live demo of
Nope.
screwing something with your IoT screwdriver? We have time for it. We do. While you're getting your live demo of the IoT screwdriver ready, let me switch my camera if I can figure out how. I should have my blurry camera attached. All right, there we go.
Hashtag blurry cam.
Hashtag blurry cam. I bought this all-in-one solar powered battery pack, which has
tray.
USB out, and it's also got USB-C on the side, but I don't think I'm going to need that. So I've been fascinated for the past week or two with wildlife projects and conservancy and those types of projects. I saw Hackster released a project called Elephant Edge that they're promoting right now. This week I ran a bear cam detector. Let me see, I'll switch back my camera now. On a Jetson Nano, I was able to identify bears. Unfortunately, I don't have any bears near me to really test it out on.
What do you have near you?
Did you just pretend to be a bear?
No. You can use, it's called the Bear ID project. I'll grab the link in a minute. You just feed it images and it classifies them on the GPU on the Jetson Nano. So I was able to identify about 30 to 40 bears that I had fed in to the.
But they weren't your bears.
These were not. These were not my
understand
bears. These were not my bears. These were not even geographically located near me. I was just doing the inferencing on these bears. But I don't have any bears. So
why didn't you choose a project with like some animals that you do have? I don't understand why you've chosen bears.
I just needed to see if it worked, Phil. And I know that other members on the team do have bears. Matt has bears.
We were talking about that the other day. You were putting this out as if like we should join some projects together and then people can start classifying some bears. People don't care what bear it is. If there's a bear at the back door, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know that's Jeff the bear and he's all right.
He was here yesterday.
If there's a bear, that's an issue. That's all you need to know.
So you don't think we need to know what type of a bear it is? You just think we need a bear is a bear is a bear.
Alert, bear.
Yeah. I just need to know, run away, there's a bear.
Like if there's a bear in Surrey just wandering around the road, then
oh man, I need to know about that. Yeah. As long as it can like differentiate between pigeon and bear, I'm happy.
That misclassification was pretty awkward. You wouldn't?
I'm dying here. Well, all right.
But if it doesn't, you need to raise an issue on the repo, definitely.
Fine. So, all said and done, what I have in mind here is I think this battery should be big enough, I'm hoping, and knowing that I live in Arizona, it'll charge up pretty well overnight, throughout the day to run overnight my Pi Zero, which then I want to try to run Kerberos or some other similar motion detection on, and do some wildlife detection out in the desert. The final piece in the puzzle is going to be some 4G LTE SIM card coverage. We've got some Twilio Super SIMs on order. So I think between the Pi Zero, the SIM card for connectivity, the Kerberos container doing motion detection, and what I hope is enough power to make it through day and or night, It should be a self-sustaining wildlife detector. So I can look for bears. And I also have that I don't have. Well, I'll look for javelina, bobcats, rattlesnakes, anything else that could kill you around here. And I've got the small BME 280, just like Chris has. So
why have you both got purple ones? Are they like AliExpress type?
Yeah, these are
AliExpress specials.
Yeah, these are AliExpress specials.
I think pack of 5 for $1 or something.
Yeah, I think I paid about 13 cents.
I bought the really expensive one. I probably didn't need to then.
But it fits in your fancy breakout garden, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then David would have 2 things in his breakout garden.
No, you can't. You can only put one item at a time in the breakout garden. You can clearly see that.
Good. And not plug it into a Pi, clearly.
No, it's just for looking at it. It's too beautiful. You just look at it. That's only for
I shot JR as claiming we don't know what a javelina is. I mean, he's not wrong.
A javelina?
Yeah.
A javelina. Hold on, I don't see it. Put it onto the screen.
There we go. It's come through now. It's lagging a bit.
Javelina. Oh, a javelina is just a pig with giant tusks like a rhinoceros or an elephant, and they walk around stabbing people. If you don't watch where you're walking here in the desert, I mean, it'll kill you. That's the end of it. You're done.
I mean, does it actually come after you, or is it just a case of we bumped into each other?
No. It will chase you. It will stab you, and you die out in the desert. And that's.
I have this thing where I tell a growing number of balena people to move out, but I mean, you're top of the list. Definitely move out. I was talking to Alan, who's on here every now and again the other day, and he's like, "Oh yeah, there was a really bad storm here the other day, and my neighbour's car washed down the road." It's like, move out, mate. We moan about British weather, but never have I lost my car to some rain.
No, here you take your life in your hands if you leave your house.
I just thought you had rattlesnakes and it was awfully hot, but pigs that come round and stab you.
Yeah, it's like a spike. Yeah, there you go. It's like a spiky
You don't need
pig.
a bear detection, mate. You need an awful pig with massive tusks detector.
Well, that could also.
It's just like it sounds tasty and dangerous at the same time.
True. This is a true statement. All right, we need to get on with the show. We got to talk about balenaLocating. Otherwise, we're gonna sit here and chit chat the whole time. Phil, it appears you put out a blog post this week. Let me grab the link.
I put out 2 actually. I had like a rare turn of form.
Yeah, that's true. Which one are we talking about? I've got the links ready.
True. You got the links ready? Let's start off with balenaLocating.
Okay. Here we go. Link is coming.
Which is designed so that you do not lose your keys, your turtle, your briefcase, your wallet, or your child. Now, how exactly do you go about something like that? Walk me through the project. I'm not going to lie. I read the post. I didn't understand it. I don't even attach sensors to devices.
From so I'm going to need some confused by a screwdriver.
I'm going to need some
feel where you're coming from. So this project works on Bluetooth low energy, and a lot of people understand Bluetooth connects things together, and generally they understand you pair things and then you exchange data, whereas Bluetooth low energy, it still does that, and it does that whilst using less energy, clearly. But it also has sort of different ways of using it that people might not be aware of. And one of the things is devices send out periodically, they can send out a data packet to advertise that they're there. And that can be used for lots of different things, like advertising the services that a device exposes. So like a speaker might advertise itself and tell all the devices around it that it's ready to accept the audio stream. But the other thing you can do with them is you can just use those packets to detect something is nearby. So you get these beacons. So this is like a beacon that I got off AliExpress. And this will just sit here. This one's quite big actually, but you get really small form factor ones. I think I sent Chris quite a small one. Mine's in the shed.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny little white thing.
I have a little white one.
And it's got a little coin cell battery, and it will sit there for 3 years, just pinging out every 5 seconds a message to say, one of these advertising packets to say it's here. There it is. It's like a little coin.
Yep.
And it's even got a little.
And you sent me that sort as well, which is a bit bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's got quite a big battery in that one, I think. Well, yours hasn't because I took it out to post it, but it should do. So the thing, there's two sort of different ways of using that. You can dot these beacons around an area, and then so say like a museum or a shopping centre, and then when people are walking around with their mobile phones, the mobile phone can use those set of beacons to kind of judge where they are. So like an indoor positioning system, and then you can send URLs to their phone to display. So if you think of like a museum and you go up to a particular display, the fact that your phone can calculate that you're at that display from all the different beacons it can see and the strength of the signal coming from them, it can work out that you're at that particular part of the museum, and it can show you some information about what you're looking at. And that's kind of the more well-known way and advertising type things in stores for using these beacons. But the other thing you can do is turn that on its head. And you can attach these beacons to things that you don't want to lose yourself. And there's some commercial products out there, but they're quite expensive. But there's some square ones.
I've seen that. Is it similar to, I think the brand name on it is Tile, right?
Yeah, I was skirting around the brand name, but yeah.
Yeah, well.
Rhymes with
I haven't. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I've seen them in the store, though. Yeah.
They are quite expensive. And the other thing, I think they've got new generation ones that you don't have to pair. But for a long time, the longest time, you did actually have to pair it with your device. And if your phone could see it, it would say that it's nearby. And then if it walked away and you left your keys behind, it could bing bong to say you've abandoned your keys. But it was sort of one-to-one mapping between a beacon and a phone. And they're also really, really expensive. So you can't sort of get a bunch of them and attach them to all of the things, which is what I wanted to do. So this is kind of like a true make-it-yourself hacker version, which is what we specialize in. So you can get these. You can buy them really expensive, but you can also go on AliExpress and buy them. I think this one was $2. I think it might be $2.
Oh, wow. Holy cow.
Yeah. So what that's doing is sat there putting out a beacon, and each beacon has a unique ID. And then what we've done is turn some Raspberry Pis into sensors for these beacons. So we're sort of turning that premise upside down in that you have sensors dotted around that don't move, and the beacon does move around because it's attached to your keys or a child, or I haven't actually attached them to my children.
No, I have seen use case from Tile where they place them on children's backpacks that are going to school. But so then in that scenario, how are they, is that like geolocation? They have GPS in them at some point? Like how are they then tracking a child that is now out into the world? That's a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, you can get things. I think Vodafone in the UK have released something that's got GPS in it as well. But then you've got a monthly plan for that.
It's a little different,
different
scenario.
So the idea with this is that you put sensors in all the places where you are likely to have your important stuff. So at the office, if you have one, I know Balena people don't. I mean, we have got offices, so I guess some people do go to the office, like Kat goes to the office and leaves stuff. So something in the office, something in the garage, something in the house, a sensor in the shed. I've got one out in the garden because I've got a garden pie, I call it, in a waterproof box. So I run a sensor on that as well. And then, so if I share my screen, that might be a good idea, and then I can try and bring that to life.
And then you were thinking about putting one in the car as well, weren't you?
Well, so like David was talking about these super sims and having sort of mobile devices. Yeah, that's the other thing that I want to do is put one in the car, so that then, like when we're going on holiday, I know my stuff is in the car. So balenaLocating, I've got lots of projects. That's a typical Balena dash.
I was just going to say they're so well organized.
From a hacker. Yeah.
Like mine are a complete mess.
Yeah, mine are a total mess.
So I've got two devices here, and you'll notice that they've got names that point out where they are, like house. But I have actually also got the garden pie. It's running a bunch of different things. It's got sound on it, and it's got a Wi-Fi repeater, and so it doesn't exist within this application, but it is actually just running the sensor service. So if I click in, I'll look at my Raspberry Pi 4. There's two services that are running. The beacon one is picking up those beacons that this is kicking out. So that's the sensor part. And then each one can run a dashboard. You can turn it off if you don't want it to run on every device, but I just leave it turned on. So this is the dashboard that it loads. And what that's showing is I've got a bunch of tags in the tag thing, and I've given them names. I haven't got one attached to a child. That was just to amuse Thomas. But I do have one in my laptop bag, which is something that I do take out of the house, or I used to before COVID anyway, and attached to my keys and this sort of thing. And then what that means is I can look at on the homepage, it will show me where all of my stuff is by which device can see it. So you can see the device. I've got one of those white ones that Chris showed, those tags, and I've put it in the shed. So that's why that one's indicated as being in the garden, because it's right next to it. It isn't actually my laptop. I don't work in the shed.
But you could.
Yeah. And then those other two devices, so the Raspberry Pi 4, and I've got a Fin. So they're called Office and House, and that's showing these two, or these three tags there. And this device view, this is, Chris wanted this, so I added it, and it's sort of showing by device whether it's online or not, when it was last seen, and what tags it can see around it. So clearly you're going to have overlapping coverage zones sometimes. So both the Fin and the Raspberry Pi 4 are actually in this room. So they're really overlapping coverage, but the garden is somewhat down there. So you can sort of see here that each device, so both of these devices can see all three of those tags actually. Mm-hmm. So you're able to, part of the project is you're able to decide how sensitive the device is or not with its coverage plot. So you can try and trim it so that only things in the shed can be seen by the shed device, etc. And that's what that project does. So it allows you to see where your stuff is. The red bit, by the way, that means that it's not been seen for an amount of time.
That was the one. That was wallet. So your wallet hasn't been seen for a while.
Lost my wallet. That just means the garden hasn't seen my wallet for a while. So clearly, I walked out into the garden earlier, and it found it. But now my wallet is with me in my office, and that's quite a good demonstration, isn't it? That I know where it is. I mean, it's in my pocket. I knew anyway, but
that's pretty cool,
it confirms it for you.
It confirms.
Yeah, right.
It confirms that it is not in the garden, so no need to look for it there. That's actually pretty neat. Child 1 also has been located. That's good too. This dashboard, is this an open source project? Did you build this? Did it come from somewhere?
I built it.
You built it?
But it is it is open source because it's on GitHub. You can feel free to steal it and do what you like with it.
That's where I was headed next. So so I just posted the link to the GitHub repo for the project.
And it's worth also saying that when people look at it, you don't actually have to buy these tags in order to run the project up and try it, because we've put in the blog post some smartphone apps that you can run, and you can make your phone pretend to be one of these beacons. So if you just want to test it and see that it does what it says it does, you can do that and test it. And then if you're happy, then you can go on AliExpress and try and find my $2 device.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I think the cool thing about this project is if you've already got Balena projects that you've built, like balenaSound, for instance, or balenaSense, you can combine this project with those ones. So if your Sense device is out in the garden, you can add the balenaLocating functionality to it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I did. If you see, I've just turned my phone into a virtual beacon, which is why this one's appeared. And it's got this toggle here to say I only care about beacons I've named. So if you turn that off, you can see I've just made one on my phone that says it's in the house with me.
I'm looking at the blog post, and we've got the link already in chat.
It will go red in a minute as well.
Yeah, there it is, Beacon Simulator. Yeah, so you have the link, or I should say the documentation, the verbiage in the blog post on how to do it with your phone. So realistically, then all you would need would be the
It's just a Pi.
Yeah,
it's just a Pi. And that's quite a good thing about this project as well, is that often our projects that we put out require some additional hardware, some hats, some sensors, a DAC. So it's quite good to have another project that's not as simple as a Hello World. It does actually do something functional, but you don't actually need anything other than the Raspberry Pi if you're going to use your phone to test it with. So that's really good.
Yeah, it's a good starting point. And then, if somebody wants to iterate and go from there, then then they can hop on AliExpress, or I don't know. I'll have to take a look on Amazon locally. I've found sometimes that there are some importers and distributors that will carry some of the same products as you find on AliExpress, and then you don't have to wait for, at least for here anyways, what's usually like 30 to 40 days worth of shipping.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. You can go on AliExpress and then 2 months later resume building your project.
Yeah, resume building the project. So, even if it is maybe, you can't beat $2, but if even for a few bucks more, it might be worth it to pick up some sensors off of something like Amazon or even eBay. I've found sometimes there will be some importers, but very cool that you can get started without actually purchasing any of the hardware.
And if you look at this is my garden Pi, which is why it's called garden.
It's appropriately named. Okay.
I'm running a bunch of, so I've got most of the sound containers there, balenaSound containers. I took off AirPlay because I haven't got any Apple devices. But the beacon service, that's just the bit that's running, detecting those beacons. And I've also got Thomas's Wi-Fi repeater on the.
So you can run just the location service?
Yeah.
Because I guess by default, you're running the dashboard and the service on each device. But in theory, you only need the dashboard in one place, don't you?
Yeah. So if you just want to deploy the project as is, you can set an environment variable called run_dashboard and set that to off, and then it won't run on that device.
What was the variable? Say that again.
Run_dashboard. It's all in the blog post.
Is it in there? Okay, let me check.
But so for this, I compiled lots of different projects together. So I took some of sound and the Wi-Fi repeater, because my eldest son uses his device out in the garden sometimes for his homeschooling, and Wi-Fi didn't quite reach the bottom of the garden, so I added the Wi-Fi repeater to that device. There's a video coming up on it at some point that Andrew's putting together. It's power over Ethernet, Raspberry Pi in a box with a DAC with a waterproof speaker, so the children use it. I built them a pub out of pallets. They use it as the They use it as the pub jukebox, and they play Spotify out there. But they've also got Wi-Fi out there, so the garden's covered in Wi-Fi as well.
That's pretty awesome.
And then I added this beacon service so that I can detect things in the shed.
To detect them out there. So wait a minute, I'm looking at those containers that are listed right there, and you are now talking about 3 different Balena projects. You've got balenaLocating, balenaSound, and the Wi-Fi repeater. How did you go about getting all of them onto the device like that? What is the process for something like that? That's a Docker Compose file that handles that?
And Chris is feverishly finding
I'm
the blog
Googling,
post. Yeah. So we do have a blog post on how you can combine things, but yeah, you get your Docker Compose and you sort of pick and choose the services from each. There we go. It's in the chat.
Look at that service.
You pick and choose the containers that you want to run from each project. You just need to do a bit of manual thinking about, do they have anything that conflicts? Like, do they use the same port or anything? But in this case, you've just used Wi-Fi, the beacon service, and then all the bits of sound that already work together. So,
I mean, it's a super cool demonstration of how, if you're building one of our projects, you don't need to just stick to that. There are lots of them that can be combined, and you can do multiple things.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, my bear detector, I think, is probably going to need multiple.
You need to leave all the CPU cycles to bear detection there.
Yeah, I want to make sure that
you don't want Wi-Fi to be.
Why don't you have?
So
why don't you have the bear detector there?
Kerberos. I'll need the Kerberos. I'll need the Bear ID. And maybe I'll throw in balenaSense.
I'm going to have to need Bear ID. You don't need to know which bear
Yes,
it is.
I absolutely need the Bear ID. I need to know precisely what type of a bear it is. And then some sort of alerting. And I think Kerberos can do that, if I remember correctly.
Like add Alan's Alerter project at the same time and have a cool LED tower that illustrates how bear proximity.
Definitely run away, yeah.
play awful music on Spotify to scare it away.
And then on the Bluetooth thing, we've got another project that hopefully is going to come out a bit later. We're still working out how we're going to do it. But originally, when I was talking to Chris as part of my Balena interview, I was trying to think of a way of impressing. I didn't know it was him at the time. I just knew I wanted to work at Balena.
Chris hired you?
He didn't not hire me. I don't know whether he hired me. Like he failed to filter me out. Yeah, but I felt like I didn't really match up CV wise. So instead, what I tried to do is make a project to impress him, and I made basically balenaLocating, not quite as slick as this, but I did it with machine learning. And the way that project works is you go round all of the. So I did it in my house, but this could work in a warehouse, or it could work in a shop or anywhere else. You go around all of the sort of extents of the property. And when you're in each location, you tell the system where you are. So it sort of samples what it's like. So I carried a beacon, one of these, around the house. And when I was stood in the living room, I said, I'm in the living room, and it sampled the data of what that looks like. And what that's doing is taking all of the sensors. So I had 3 running, but you could have as many as you like to get greater resolution. And it tries to fingerprint what that beacon looks like when you're in the location you said you are. And it takes samples of that. And then it feeds all of that. So you do that for the kitchen, you do that for the bedrooms and the garden and all of the extents of your property. And then using machine learning, it works out what things look like in each different location. So wherever that beacon now goes, my system will say that looks most like you are in the kitchen.
I mean, needless to say, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
he failed to filter me out of the process.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool.
I'm going to try and write that up. I need to resurrect it. So some of that it was hosted in Microsoft Azure, and I need to think through how I'm going to go forward with that project. Whether to sort of keep it as an edge computing project and take it out of any cloud, or to leave it as is. I'm not quite
Does
sure
it require GPU or NPU or some other type of? It's just CPU based machine learning.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the most clever machine learning ever.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just wasn't sure.
It's a K nearest neighbor model. So it's just saying, when I look at this fingerprint, it looks the closest to this one that you've told me about in the past. So it's just running off the CPU. It's not.
That's
too clever.
That's actually better in that you don't need big expensive hardware. Like I don't have to go out and buy a GeForce 2080 in order to run it.
No. It literally runs on Raspberry Pi 3s.
Perfect.
And so that gives you some personal use cases. Clearly, it'd be good to know what room your keys are in if you've lost your keys, not just that you've lost your keys and they're in the house. Like the project at the moment will tell you. The more sensors you put in, the more you're going to have higher resolution of where you've left your stuff. But then for sort of commercial use cases, you can see if you can know not only is that piece of equipment in that warehouse, but where in that warehouse, what shelf it's on, then there's an awful lot of parcels in a depot and gas bottles on a truck. And then like we were saying, put in sensors into vehicles means you can also detect is stuff on the vehicle when you go out to a job or not, and where you lost it.
So the difference between that project and the one we've just looked at is that right now, if you had 3 sensors in your house, like one in the living room, one in a bedroom, and one in like a second bedroom, like you would only be able to tell which one of those it was in the vicinity of, wouldn't you? But with this new project, you could say go in the bathroom and see what the fingerprint was, and then the system will be able to tell you it's in the bathroom based on those 3 devices, even though there isn't one in the bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, you can see on my screen it's just turned red because I turned the virtual beacon off on my phone, so it's told me it's gone missing. That's what red means.
Yeah. Oh, so red is bad?
Red is lost. No sensor can see it for 10 minutes or more.
So how frequently do the little beacons broadcast?
It depends. They're all different. Some do it every second, but clearly it's a trade-off with battery life. So I think this one that I got is set to 5. Some of them you can reprogram as well to say how often, and also you can change the power they transmit at. So I know like that, the white one with the blue surround that you've got there, Chris, I know that one's crazy powerful, and you can't change it on that one. So when I was testing like the red bit here to see when it's gone away, I couldn't get rid of the blooming thing. Like even down the bottom of the garden, so in the end I ended up with like metal colanders acting as a Faraday cage in the fridge to try and make it go away.
I mean, couldn't you just drive it down the street and leave it there for a little bit and then just go get it later?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite, when you want to make it go away and come back, it's a lot to go to, isn't it? I could just lob it, I guess. Go and find it.
You go throw it in the hedge outside and be like, oh, the damn thing's still here.
No, it definitely would be,
yeah. All right. Well, looking at the clock, we killed a lot of time. Do we want to dive in, Phil? What did you have that you wanted to show off from the Kerberos project, knowing that it is an Etcher Featured Project now, and we've got a new blog post on it out. Cedric was on the show, like I said, a couple of weeks back. He did give us a pretty good tour. Is yours up and running right now? You want to try to get through it in 12-ish minutes or no? What are you thinking?
Let's have a look and see whether it'll work. I don't know. I haven't actually been and looked, so seat of the pants. We'll see.
All right.
There's a good question come in that maybe you could answer while you're digging that out.
Yeah, let's have a look here. Can you suggest any microservice deployment automation tool for Balena Cloud? Suppose we have 10 microservices need to be deployed in 3 Raspberry Pi. What would be ideal technique? Chris, I'm going to need some help on this one. You have any ideas here on what that could be?
I guess it kind of depends what your microservices are. Because if they're Docker containers, for example, then you could just deploy that straight to a Balena Cloud application, and then you add your 3 Raspberry Pis to that application, and you're basically done. Because the Balena Cloud service is taking care of the distribution of all those containers onto those devices and making sure they're always up to date.
Yeah, deployment automation. The GitHub Actions is
That's
something
true, yeah.
we've started to look at. I don't know if we've gotten too far on that. Chris, I think you were playing around with it, or was it Tomas that was playing around with it?
I know some community members have set up GitHub Actions that can do a continuous deployment from GitHub to Balena Cloud as well. I don't have the links to those offhand, but I think they're just you can find them in the GitHub Action library, whatever it is they call it. But yeah, so as long as they're containerized, then that would let you set up a link from that repo that every time you merge to master, you can set up that push, which would automatically go to your devices.
Yep.
I guess it depends whether you want one service per container as well, or whether it depends how you're organizing your microservices. You might have many services per container. Something like dapper.io would be a good place to have a look for something like that, doing microservices on the edge.
What was that one? Dapper?
Dapper.io, yeah, DAPR.io. You can also do actors on the edge with Dapper, which is super cool. Have you done actor framework programming, David?
I don't even attach sensors to devices. Do you think I have done? Do you think I have done actor programming?
I've put a link to one of the actions. I think there might be more than that. Yeah, there's a couple. So yeah, I haven't tried these, but I know community members are successfully using them. There's Alex Programmer DE has got one as well.
He does? I don't think I knew that. Alex Programmer DE / Balena GitHub Actions. Yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely something people are doing.
So I see that. So Amador, thank you for the questions. I don't think that we have thoroughly explored and documented it, but seeing that some of these community folks out there have, you may want to ping them or take a look at how they're doing it and see if you can replicate that a bit. It's probably something that we should look into and see if we can get some documentation written on, though. Good.
Yeah, it's definitely
call
something
out.
we're planning to sort of make a first-class integration in the future.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. So Phil,
On the
what did
Kerberos
you?
side of things,
Yep.
I mean, it's like the simplest project ever, and that's what's so great about it. Like you say, Cedric was on, and he showed off the project in its entirety.
Yep.
And all we've done is put together some Docker files and made a deploy with Balena button. So if you go to the blog post, you'll be able to click that button, and it will automatically select the correct Docker file for the application type that you create. If you make a Raspberry Pi 3 one, it will select the correct Docker file for that. You can also do Raspberry Pi 4. I've got one deployed here on a Nano. I've also got one deployed on an old Dell laptop. And yeah, I mean, it makes the application that Cedric showed off, and it just works. The blog post is sort of pointing out how incredibly simple it is. I think I did it in 25 minutes. I reckon I could do it in 10.
Yeah, it's a good one to try if you've got like a Pi lying around that you don't have a purpose for, and then maybe you can find an old webcam or something and plugging the two together and clicking the button, and you've pretty much got a setup going.
Yeah.
Can it work with do you need a USB webcam, or does a Pi camera work as well?
This thing that I was talking about with Jasmine's going to make one to monitor her baby, since hers is incredibly insecure. That's going to be a Pi camera one. You can do a webcam, which is what that one. I think that one actually is an RTSP feed from a network camera that I've got on the front of the house. So you can bring in a stream, or you can connect a device into it.
Yeah,
and it's got motion detection and a bunch of things. And Chris and I spotted that the motion detection, you can trigger certain things. You can trigger the device to do something on the GPIO, or it can run.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Or it can ping a message onto MQTT. So when it detects some motion, you can define an area to detect motion in, and when it alerts, you can select what to do with that alert, what the device will do. So it could put a message onto MQTT if you've got something like Home Assistant running that you want to put something on there, or you can get it to trigger something on the GPIO on the device. So you could have a buzzer go off like Alan's project, or I think you can run webhooks as well.
Yeah, there's webhooks too. Yeah.
So you could do.
It actually, when it does the webhook call, it posts some information about the motion as well. It tells you how many pixels changed and at what coordinates they were in the image. It's quite cool.
David's thinking about bears.
I am thinking about bears. Okay.
David, you don't have any bears.
I'm going to get some bears. Do not worry. I will get the bears. All right.
You're just going to take like a road trip and come back with some bears in your car.
Oh, I could find some bears. It can't be that hard. Yeah, I mean, we just drive up to like Colorado or Wyoming or something.
You need to focus on those pigs, mate.
They sound like more of a concern.
Forget the bears. Worry about the pigs.
Bears don't have horns for a start. They don't come looking for you.
All right. So pig detector, wild pig boar.
Yeah.
Detection.
Yeah. With Alan's buzzer.
It's a buzzer. No, the buzzer's not going to help. It's too late for the buzzer at that point. You need something stronger. All right. I'm going to think about this.
I mean, it illustrates like all these sort of projects we're putting together. They're starting to get to the point where you can start to glue them together and make useful stuff. That's
exactly it. With the combination of these various bits and pieces, I can now glue together wildlife detection pretty much out of the box.
Exactly.
All right. So very cool. Well, thanks, Phil. Appreciate that. I think that about covers it for the show. Anything else you want to show off? Anything else we want to chat through? I was going to do some live push demos, but I think we'll save that for another week now, looking at the clock with only 4 minutes left. So I think we're
Happy Hour it's not like a contract.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely.
There's no penalties.
Nah,
it's just the drinks get more expensive, don't
they?
Yeah. People like emailing you, David. It was an hour and 1 minute, mate.
Well, Nah, we'll wrap it up here. I don't want folks to have to, if we exceed happy hour, then the drinks get more expensive. All right. Well, anything else from either of you? Guys,
No,
good?
That's it from me.
That's it for Chris. That's it for Phil. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you had fun. I laughed quite a bit. I thought that was a fun one. And VJ, do you want to go ahead and close us out then?
I will jockey those viscs.
All right. Bye, everyone. We will see you next week.